first weekend. Practice one, and watch out because he's having a... It's going to get sideways, it's going to go around, it's going to hit the wall. And that's unfortunate for a first-timer. Drove that car back to the pit, so mighty little Toyota 86.
Big they are, and when they come back on the track, they sweep to the outside.
Oh, a wild moment for Alec Morse, who's making his debut this weekend. So we've got brothers as well as husband and wife combos out there. And he has gone in backwards down there at turn one. That would be a frightening ride for the Colombian, who's making his debut in this championship this year. Had a tough day yesterday trying to find some speed. Oh, and he's trying to find grip, and so is Tom Muller. Oh, and a third as well. It's Andy Simpson. So 3 cars stuck in 3 different gravel traps.
It does actually compact those rocks down a little bit and gives you a little bit more grip than what you would have in the dry. And Muller's done a great job to get his car out. So that now leaves 2 cars buried. Let's have a look at the replay of Muller. Very Dylan Thomas-esque that I referred to before. Lost the rear. These conditions are really, really tricky because it's not full wet. You turn in, you try and load the tyre, and it's all at the high-speed stuff that we're seeing people go off. So they're getting these low-speed grip references from within their bump in the driver's seat, but when they get to the high-speed stuff, it's not working out for them.
Onto the circuit. Here you had an off at turn 3. Oh, you don't often see cars turn right at turn 3. That would have been a scary, scary moment.
I could only imagine that we've caught the back end of that. I'd imagine that started earlier in the corner, and he's doing a little bit of, I've got it, I've got it, I've got it, and now I don't have it, unfortunately, and around Harley's gone.
Exactly what happened to him yesterday as well. So he's flat out trying to hang on to the Toyota 86 this weekend, which typically is a forgiving race car. Gee, we've had him off everywhere, haven't we? That's another fast corner, and it's Tom Muller again. And this time, wow, facing the wrong way. Now he's a long way out there, so there's half a chance we might be able to stay green with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's gone off the circuit pretty early on in the corner. That's not a place that you'd normally see a car come to rest. So the team up in race control will decide that. Oh, how good is the drift from Emily Duggan through the hay shed.
I thought she was going to catch that. She juggled it and unfortunately dropped it, but managed to get it pointing in the right direction. Nearly a nice save.
And he got a great run, but he hasn't been able to go on with it. And now it's King that stayed in front of him.
Whoa, in a big, big way. Off at turn 1. And how well balanced is the Toyota 86? That well balanced. How that didn't dig into the gravel. A wild moment for Jake Klein, former Kaizen Award winner. Back down into first or second gear and goes searching for the racetrack that's somewhere up there.
And your racecraft learning rate will be going through the roof.
Oh, Burton's wide here. Needs to be careful getting this back onto the road at the southern loop. And that loss of momentum is going to kill him down here at turn 3 as Andy Simpson has an off down at turn 1 as well, trying to get that car pointed in the right direction. There's gravel sprayed everywhere down there. Good driving. Still on though. Aaron Borg banging doors in the Cedars Racing entry. Oh no, it's Luke King, second in the championship is off. And there's more to the story. John Iafola on the inside of the road going slow. So was there contact between these two? Trying to hang to the inside here with McAdam around the outside of the 97. Oh gee, there's parts everywhere down here. And it's Cade Crawford who's in reverse and trying to back his way out of there. Oh, and into the wall. Comes from an off-road racing family. And that was a big hit. A few cars caught up, including Luke Vanner. Sprayed parts everywhere.
Wondering if the rearview mirror in that car got dislodged in that accident, because
you almost need a spotter out there today. The whole time for Leanne it would be car inside, car inside. We've got a car off. It's the 8 of Iafola. Whoa, and Richard Peasy right off the bumper of Leanne Tander. Missed how that one started, but we saw how it ended. Further back in the pack.
Garth had been known in supercars to load the car on the start with a handbrake. Whether he did that, there was this moment for Jake Klein. That was a massive off at turn 1 at a very, very high rate of speed. He wasn't the only one. Simpson, likewise.
A thoroughly entertaining race that was on all the way through the pack. That was Rich Peasy and Leanne Tander swapping some paint. Bit of an awkward moment, that one at the Southern Loop.
Yeah, it's one of those racing moments for me where Peasy
picked up his second top 10 finish in the series, and that's Zach Lachalpo in the Tempest Solutions entry, and he's not alone. He's got
It's going to go straight onto the concrete, onto the bitumen. The bitumen then grips up and will spit you around quite hard. So he did a great job there to understand that the car was sliding, and the last thing he needed to do was change the grip levels. Look at this, out across the gravel trap. Rooster tails out of the back of it.
Alec Morse again here, facing the wrong way. It's in a tricky spot. This is actually Zane Morse's brother in the second of the Bremer Group Racing entries. Facing the wrong way down there at turn 4.
It's not a comforting feeling sitting there at the apex of turn 4. Now let's have a look at this.
So it's off the front of that pack. Leanne Tander scooted through on the inside.
This will tell the story a little bit better. Zane Morse in the 11. Gutierrez on the inside. Have they made contact? Yes. Going off the body shake in the Gutierrez car suggests that he's made contact with Zane Morse, and around he goes.
The question for me was someone into the back of Gutierrez to cause all that. Liam McAdam, 18 years of age, young Kiwi. Oh, Trent Rebel's whacked the wall here. Dislodged some of the tyres, and the good news is he's okay.
That looks like that is a hard hit, Chad.
Turn 11.
Trent Rebel having a look at it.
He's a tough kid from the Shire in Sydney.
Oh, wow.
Late to the scene there, and that thing's already gone in backwards hard. That's a real shame. We have stayed green for now. That car's a long way off the racetrack. Very rare do you ever see a car get there. So hopefully we don't see two. And now we've got John McLaughlin running wide.
And why it's rare to see a car come off there is because normally as you're coming out of turn 11, you're on the throttle. And so the driver has plenty of control as to whether or not he's going to run off the road. He can get out of the throttle. So I could only assume that there's been some contact there for Ravel.
There's John McLaughlin running wide. Nice of the officials to give him some directions back to the track as well at the exit of turn 2.
Well, he was quite a long way off, so he was probably thinking, how do I find the track from here?
And here's Declan Fraser and Jared Whitty. They've been into it for the last few laps, and that's how close it is down at turn 4.
Great shot of the tyre deflection.
Ooh.
Before the two cars make contact.
Little shards of metal bouncing down the road. Results in Whitty dropping some wheels off. Car's running wide at turn 10 and contact, big contact. And Leanne Tander facing the wrong way. Jared Maggs, Zach LaChalpo and Graham Smith all involved.
That nobody can avoid.
Now what happened down here at MG? Gee, Tom Muller picked up, I reckon, 10 in a corner then.
And you know, after that replay, I'm trying to find out what actually happened. So this will tell the story. This is on board with Leanne Tander.
Oh wow.
She stopped a massively hard hit into the right rear, and just look at her hands there. You feel so vulnerable in the car, and that told the story. She was trying to brace herself, not taking her hands off the wheel to stop any contact, but just because that felt like a safe place to be. And then, unfortunately, because Leanne was going around, everyone else had to take evasive action.
That's wild. Andy Simpson, how did they miss him at turn 2? Back as well. Oh, it's got to end in tears. And there goes Ransley. There goes Whitty. Does he get the fence? Can he keep it out of the wall? Yes, he does. Good driving. Gee, I thought we had a little bit of Lowndes and Bow going on then for a moment from back in the 90s. And Jared Whitty somehow kept into it. And we'll go the long way around back to the racetrack. What's happened here, Andy?
So let's have a look at this. Great racing from Ransley and Whitty. They were bumping each other, but just a little bit to give each other enough room, and it was McAdam with a mistake behind Whitty. The rear of the car just getting nervous, and as he tried to...
Car end up there. Well, we're starting to see a little bit of evidence potentially on the road, and now's our chance to completely answer that question. Way!
Wow.
That is certainly not the preferred line through turn 2. Oh, that went in a big way. Now, whether or not Dave Cedars was involved, he was certainly hampered by it. That's reminiscent of Ricky Capo in a BMW here a few years ago in the Australian GT Championship. Very similar incident. Once again, this is the angle, isn't it, Andy? My goodness.
Very, very lucky that that car didn't keep rotating over onto its roof. It would have been massive. Even this impact is hard enough. Oh. Look at the rear window just being shattered as Jaden Maggs' car makes contact with that tyre barrier on the outside. Now, this is at real speed. This will be big. Let's keep an eye on the bottom of the screen. Wow. Here comes Maggs, and there goes Maggs. Wow, that's a really quick sudden stop. Thankfully, Jaden is okay in there. We can see him moving around. Some description being omitted from that car.
Whoa, and Emily's had a big slide. And then
it's all on her own.
Cracked it sideways, tried to keep it out of the traffic. She sort of jumped on the grenade a little bit there, because if it went left, she would have taken someone with her. A la Super Tour a few years ago, which involved one Andy Jones.
I was hoping you weren't going to mention that.
And unfortunately couldn't keep it off the fence for Emily, which means a ride in the medical car and out of action.
Copping a tag over at the high-speed Hayshed. Got plenty of sparks happening when we went up to Townsville. And this was a cool shot. Robotham spinning around. And eventually the grass would help to dislodge that exhaust system off the back of the 29.
That was a wild, wild moment and a wild shot as well, as he went skating across the infield, gave the wall a bit of a nudge. There was a bit more going on. That's interesting. Iafallah and Vodanovic getting together at Townsville. They would have their own separate moments later in the year, which I'm sure we'll touch on soon. And that was good to see Peter Vodanovic.
Style, if you're up in the air, you're not actually propelling yourself forward too much. So it's this little bit of a balance. What's just happened there? Was there a tag on the wall?
Yeah, Richard Peasy.
By that point, the car's just not turning. So this is not Peasy. Look how Zach Gibbons that went through in front. You could see how narrow he was coming off. And at this point here, he's released the brake, tried to turn the car in, not able to get to the apex. The rear is gone, tried to catch the slide. And as he's overcorrected, car has gone bang into the wall on the outside. And that's why it's done so much damage.
I'll take back everything I said about that not being a big hit. Whack, that is a giant hit. A very durable Toyota 86 copping a whack. And if it wasn't for the Visit New South Wales...
In a sequence game, we've got an issue for Mags here at the top of the hill. Looks like he's made light contact just in the background there near the ITP sign. That is not light contact. And that looks like Cedars. Heavy contact to the left side of his car.
Mags has had another one, has he? Or has he just pulled his car up now?
Yeah, it looks like he's gone behind the fence up on top of the hill there. So smart driving from both those two guys there. Mags with busy hands from behind the steering wheel.
Gee, right in front of Emily Duggan too. Great job from Emily to miss him.
I'm surprised, Chad, that he's going to park that behind the wall, because it didn't look like the contact came very heavily at any of the suspension, unlike this one for Dave Cedars. That left front, it's got a lot of damage to it, and the steering and the wheel has taken a big hit. But the one of Mags looked like it was on the rear bumper bar.
Yeah, so might have been able to get that back, but that is a big hit for Dave Cedars, one of 12 cars racing out of that team this weekend. And seldom do you see a guy go in on the left side on that corner.
And this is a great shot of Mags, showing that the tongue was hanging out before contact was made with the fence on the bonnet. So that hit didn't cause the
All the heavy hitters in terms of the championship are up there.
St. Morse, sorry to butt in there, Chad. This is a big hit for Morse on the exit of the cutting. Now, did this start on the way into the cutting, or has he tripped over someone? But it's a long way out, and it's early on the exit. So a very, very good driving standards observer. Now, this will tell the story. So Morse, what's happened there? Did he clip the wall on that?
I think he got the inside wall.
At the apex? It looked like it was a long way away from that shot, and that's our Meerkat camera that's at the cutting this year. And then that's fired him. So if we see those two black marks to the right-hand side of the shot there.
This isn't over yet. Sure, maybe for the race leader, but how about the fight for second? Fraser side by side with Borg. Borg gets him. Vanner again from downtown. And on the outside, big one. Peter Vodanovic up and over in a big way. And the Kiwi takes a wild ride through the chase. He missed that one badly, and at the checkered flag, it's Luke King winning a dramatic and exciting race in the Toyota 86 Racing Series.
And that was a wild moment, Chad. So we can see the medical car in the background making their way. We've been told that Peter Vodanovic is moving, which is good to hear. Medical team are on site. So let's cut through the replays. Luke King, he's out of there, no problem. Lockie Gibbons comes in really hot, did a great job to try and hold on to it, but that contact with the concrete wall on the run down to the dipper would ultimately do too much damage to the left rear of his car, dislodging the toe link. Now let's have a look at this. Borg on the inside of Fraser. We know Fraser's wounded. Have a look at that right front wheel of Fraser's. It's a lot of damage. Vanna down the inside, but look at Vodanovic in the background. So much momentum. He's missed his brake marker by the look of that. And with so much extra speed versus everybody else, clipping the back of somebody and sending him into a rollover. Shades of Fabian Coulthard, although a little bit further down the road.
Wow, and in slow motion as well. This 18-year-old from Auckland.
So sparks from the roof as it slides along the bitumen, and then when it gets to the dirt, trips itself up.
This could be one of the most spectacular shots of the weekend, as this car does what it's designed to do, protect the driver in a situation just like this. And the good news in an incident like this one, Andy, it dissipates energy, it sheds its skin, it pops glass, it may even throw wheels off, but the important thing is the driver is kept safe inside. And the technology and safety that is paramount in these cars, doing exactly what it's designed to do. Particularly the roll cages and the crew from Neil Bates Motorsport who build these cars so safe. And that is a big one. Peter with his hands up around his helmet, hanging on. Former racer in the Sandown series in New Zealand, stepping up through the Toyota 86 rank. And another driver from Norwell. All three drivers from Paul Morris's academy involved then at the chase, all scrapping for every last spot. And that is an incredible image at Bathurst.
And great to hear that Peter was moving around from within that car, having been in a rollover down at Phillip Island many years ago. They do look spectacular, but thankfully, as you just well pointed out there, Chad, the energy doesn't get dispersed in a hurry. And as violent as it looks, it doesn't actually feel too bad from within the car. So comes to a nice rest in the sand trap, slowed the car down.
Courtesy of the short car across the top of the hill, and then watch out for the the yellow 777. The Red Hot Couriers entry is what I was trying to say, and that is hefty damage.
And that's that moment that I was talking about. Both front wheels go up over the curb at that point. When the front wheels are off the ground, the car is doing no turning.
Three drivers going under the pre-existing record, and Craig Thornton has had a nasty one. And that has wrapped up a difficult day for him. This car has gone in on the left-hand side there. And the good news is the door is opening. And the South Aussie is going to be getting out of that car, but this will bring about a session-ending red flag. Sure.
Look at the damage to the front of the car now. This is in real-time speed. Oversteer moment. Tried to gather it, tried to correct it, and it shot that Toyota 86 hard right at 90 degrees into the barrier. Massive amount of damage, and no wonder he got out of that car, and it was hobbling along. It's gotten airborne off that curb as well, landed just before the contact with the barrier. This will be a lengthy red flag to clean this up, Chad. Not only the damage to the car, but we'll need to get that barrier fixed up also.
Yeah, that'll be the end of that session, so Tim Brook will take the pole award here. Speed's approaching 185 kilometres per hour before turn one.
And Zach really needs to stop this downward momentum. Oh, that's a tap in the rear for Lachalpo.
Oh, no, that's a bad spot to sit for Luke Vanna. Can he get that car moving? Thankfully, no one hits him. Wow. That was a real heart stopper. And Liam McAdams off as well. And Lachalpo eventually got his way back onto the racetrack, but had to go through the tyre chicane.
In that battle yesterday of slipstreaming, Harry used it effectively to qualify in front of Stephen. Now this is the little moment that I was dissecting before. So Vanna tried to go up the inside of Lachalpo, wasn't able to get the job done on the exit of turn one. How did we not end up with a bigger incident off the back of this, Chad?
Yeah, very glad we didn't, because it would have been nasty in that spot. And the Bitcoin.com car getting away with it. They've done a really good job getting a company like that on the doors this weekend. Thankfully, that car ended up facing the right way.
Oh, this is a pretty heated little battle going on here between Mags and Girton.
This is Kyle Girton in his first start, driving for Aaron Cameron.
Oh, Mags just running Girton out of the road. That's not fair play. Comes back on, and at this point, Mags would have known Girton was still there. They go too wide. That's great racing. And then now Mags comes off the curb. The previous lap, he's decided, you know what, I can do that. That's fast. Big lock up for LaChalpo on the approach to turn 9. And then once that tyre was locked, that Dunlop Dureza tyre just a little bit too cold when he cracked the throttle. He was able to slide that car around. Ifola, hold your breath.
Oh, goodness me. That was never going to be good. That is a terrible, terrible image. Goodness me. And that'll get a round of applause from the crowd here today at Sandown. John Ifola, again, proving the safety of these amazing little vehicles. Toyota, they build them tough, don't they? And today, they have been truly tested. This is a scary, scary moment. Let's have a look at this, Andy.
So Ifola is the red and yellow car there, out quite wide and exits to the driver's left. Makes light contact with that guardrail. That was okay, but it was the way that the car was barrel rolling and made contact with the tray on the back of the ute that caused some concern for me when we initially saw it. This is Ifola. He's out wide. He's on the marbles. He's trying to catch it. Didn't look like for me that there was any contact, and it was that incident there that got the car up onto 2 wheels. The next contact with the guardrail then continued that rotation. Thankfully, it was towards the back of the car that it landed on the tray of that recovery ute parked there. We can report, though, that John Ifola has been taken out of that car. He walked on his own with a little bit of help from Team Medical to the ambulance for what we call standard medical checks after an incident of this size. But this was massive, Chad. When we first saw him, or when I first saw him dart to the driver's left, all we could do was hold our breath and hope that John would be okay. And thankfully, as you mentioned, the cages in the Toyota 86 cars are incredibly strong. We've seen examples of that throughout the life form of this category, and these are replays of John being taken to the ambulance there.
Oh, Jaden Maggs has got the fence there at turn 11. He's tweaked the front of that car. And that may require a trip back to the pits.
Now this will tell the story. So Maggs is the second of the cars on the road here. Whoa.
Oh, that was a strange one.
So has he been caught out there in the braking zone? But they should be on the brakes well by now. So Maggs has had a bit of a mistake. Decided to head to the left-hand side of his car there, up over the curb, come out the other side, and then, to be honest, I'm struggling to piece this together. Chad?
Well, this is where it's good in this championship to have some experienced mentors, like a Warren Luff. You might be able to sit with Jade, who's quite young, and point him in the right direction. Through turn 1, he almost had the chance of doing the undercut, the over-under going up the hill. Here's Aaron Borg, championship leader, and is he headed for the fence?
I'm going to say yes, given that he didn't make that apex curb. You need to hit the curb. Otherwise, you end up in this position here, like Borg has. He's gotten away with it. It's pretty light contact, relatively speaking, but it has written its name down the right rear quarter.
Who made contact with Zane Morse? Has that car got damage? It might be enough to switch off the ABS. He'll be careful when he jumps on the brake pedal at turn 2. Oh no, the championship protagonists are all into it. Borg got away with it somehow, but Brooke heavy into the fence. Big time contact, and look at this. I think that's Jared Whitty spewing coolant from the front of his Toyota.
To do with Tim Brooke, but the way he went into that corner, the car just didn't look like it was slowing down at all, and he did everything he could to try and get round the corner. Luke Vanner, unfortunately, had nowhere to go. Now let's have a look at this. He's run across that little wet patch there, but he's just come in with too much speed, too tight. Wasn't able to slow it down, or has he got an issue? There was no locking of the tyre, which suggested the ABS was working okay. Did he miss his brake marker looking at where King was? That was weird, mate. Really, really weird. Dylan Thomas copping a lot of damage to the front of his Toyota there. That's that Kmart livery. Warren Luff making his way through, and Jared Whitty. That's definitely not coolant.
Wow. And third and fifth in the points. Bang. So there was the contact for Borg. And I suggested at that point that might be enough to disconnect the ABS system. When you have contact like that, it automatically switches off the ABS as a safety precaution. And then up at turn 2, they were okay. Whoa.
So Luff with minor contact in relative terms. That sounded harsh, and you can see his right thumb there going to the radio button. Just letting the guys in the pit lane know. So this was all pretty standard fare going through turn 1. Everybody made it through relatively calmly. So it wasn't actually contact with Borg, and that's the better shot, because when we were on board before and you mentioned about Borg was to the extreme left.
I mean, what a way to start this off. Look at that. That is a sorry sight for the champion. Unbelievable. It leaves King out in the front.
Just feeling the grip, and very quickly, if you overstep it, you'll end up biting.
Oh, like that.
Concrete wall, just right on cue. Looking at the replay, so there is a judge of fact. Now this is a replay.
It's Ransley.
Of Ransley that we saw before, as I was trying to explain, as soon as you overstep the grip level mark. This is Exhibit A, Ransley, outside the dry line, and bang. The brake pedal can actually sometimes go hard in a production style car, and in that case you end up not decelerating at all, and that looked like possibly was the case for Tim.
Down at turn 1, they're all on top of each other. Gutierrez can feel the pressure. Oh, and that's on here. There's cars into each other, and Gibbons with damage to the front.
And that's oil again coming out of the front of the car.
Oh, and it might have let the motor go as a result, as oil spreads.
I love going on board with Toyota 86 where we can see that.
Turn 2, multiple cars. Vanna, Cedars, Jackson, who was earlier caught up in one. Reynolds at home, at his home track, as Kate Crawford sneaks through, and Jaded Maggs with big damage.
And a fire as well underneath the bonnet of that car, so Maggs.
All right, so how did it happen? Turn 2, the location, or there were some parts bouncing down the road. That could be from an earlier incident. Oh no, Brooke got the back of Cedars. And here it goes. Vanna, Crunch, Maggs, Webb sneaking through. Lachalpo dives in. Mueller did a good job to sort of get away without too much damage. Turn 2 has not been kind to Tim Brooke this weekend.
So, the short of all of that, Tim Brooke did help Dave Cedars go around, and then all this damage off the back of it.
Wow.
Look at Maggs' car. That is huge flame. No wonder he was in such a hurry to get out. I did reference it before. He would have known. He would have been able to feel that from within the cabin. Feet would have got incredibly hot. Would have been able to smell the oil coming out as well.
I can't remember seeing so many punctured oil lines and oil filters and all in one weekend. Heavy damage. Look at the windscreen on Muller's car. And then there was this one. So watch Gibbons in the red and black car. So unlucky here. Everyone checking up, and whack. Sight unseen up the back, and then again puncturing something in the front of that car that's flicking all that oil over the windscreen onto the cars behind him. Like a steam train making its way up the Watt Street. Whack, there it is.
I mean, it looked like reasonable contact, but it wasn't that heavy. That we've seen bigger hits with cars.
Oh, he did put the windscreen on.
Put them on.
I wonder if there are automatic windscreen wipers in these cars as soon as it detects something on the windshield. Wow, it's worth another look, isn't it? Watch him fold the mirror in. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Maybe just tweak the wheel alignment a touch, but he probably got away with one there. And that is a bummer because he was top of the session, and now it's going to leave something of a sour taste in his mouth. What a way to end the session. Let's have a look. Is it going to be at the exit of the elbow? Whoa, had a big push through the mid-corner. Was that him picking up the throttle that brought that on? It went way over to the right-hand side, mid-corner.
It's that first shot that we just saw, Chad, it looked like he was just out of the grip groove there. I think you could see about a half a metre section of dark tyre rubber mark on the circuit surface. This circuit where it's very difficult. Oh, that quickly. Oh, there's an incident here for Morse. That's
Alec
a lot
Moss.
of damage.
That's had a fair old ride going through McPhillamy. Now, if a red flag was to come out now, it's going to be very interesting because no one's completed a lap yet.
Surely it's a case of not if, but when the red flag comes out. That car's got huge amount of damage to the left front. Neutralise the session. That is the safe way to do it. Now, I wondered if Alec got out on that curb on the driver's right-hand side there. We've seen it so many times over the years, Chad, where you just get that right rear wheel up on the curb. There's not enough tyre temp in. And it's almost like being on a rail slide on a skateboard. The thing just almost feels like it gets more speed, more momentum, and can fling you hard left into that fence. And the concrete fence on Skyline is not forgiving. That is massive damage.
That's a shame for Alec, who's had to wait so long to get back into the car. He competed at Phillip Island last year.
The chase there, or on the entry to the chase, so this will hopefully fill in a couple of blanks. There's Lewis Bates there. There's Cody Garland on Wilkins, trying to go too wide, and it was Garland, lost the rear of his car. So that wasn't as big as we thought it possibly could have been. The slightest contact, Chad, makes a massive difference.
Yeah, pretty similar to one that Luke Vanna had here a couple of years ago when he bounced off that inside curb, car outside, lent on it for a little bit and then found himself spinning backwards.
That was Tim Brook on Aaron Borg, courtesy of that really, really good slipstream that you get here. Battle packs continue. That's Vaughan and Jackson.
Holly
What's happened to Espray? She's clearly got a mechanical of some description there. No speed from that car, and it caught everybody out in the background. So Espray's in the 777. Jackson in the 8, having to go to the right.
New drivers wanting to get involved in this series. Plenty of cars in the country to go and get your hands on. Paul Hayden Jackson here. The Erebus juniors are ganging up on him. And Bailey Sweeney, the loser of that one, with a little spin through turn 1. Fairly significant contact. All part of the learning process for a teenager here at Mount Panorama. And there goes Ollie Shannon. Tough weekend for these guys. But it's Cameron Hill returning to the series, who leads the field through turn number 1. The dueling cars behind him, Aaron Crickenborg, and one around in the background, and it was Jimmy Holdsworth. We're talking about the massive amount of effort to get here this weekend to race.
From the pole position, almost able to slot over to the driver's right-hand side and take his natural line through turn 1. Let's see if we can have a look. Oh, that's what happened to Holdsworth.
That was unlucky, 3 into 1.
And I'm not sure he even made any contact with the concrete wall there, are you? It looked like as he rotated through the sand, it slowed him down and
got away with it.
Just parked up nicely.
Yeah.